This is coming forward because of scarcity in our education. We need to make sure that we are fixing that as we go forward now in Minnesota.
This means very steep cuts the following school year, such as cuts to tenured and probationary teachers, support staff, mental health support for students, change of teaming school models, and less classroom support for EL learners and student activities.
We project that the increase to our district will be $3.4 million. And that increase will be affected in three primary areas. It is part of our community education, which would increase by $1.1 million, primarily in our child care areas. What that means is, because this is a fee-based program, we will have to raise the fees for parents so we can provide child care. That estimated raise in fees would make us the highest child care provider in our area and essentially take us out of that market.
This bill would propose that the employees there who chose not to work still get paid, even though no revenue is coming in for those days. The cost of this legislation in Farmington this year alone is $280,000. We are proposing $3 million in reduction for 23-24 school year, despite the governor's proposal on funding. That's 3.5 teachers we won't be able to save, 3.5 counselors, teachers, mental health support workers.
As you know, school districts have limited funds to invest in their various levels of operation. One of the concerns we have is that if we have to allocate more money onto the wage side of the contract, that those funds will come out of funds that we're trying to make available for investments in new school buses, safety initiatives like that. So we just want to raise that one. We do also have concern just about the way that the bill is worded, that it seems to put the onus on the contractors to pay the employees this level, but doesn't necessarily put the onus on the school districts to acknowledge the total costs that need to come in.
Some things that the four folks that testified against the bill, there was a significant amount of I don't know exactly what word to use on it, but it's just not accurate.
There is no fiscal note, attached with this.
If there's a belief that we're underfunding education, then we should be looking at the formula and allowing the administrators and the school boards to make decisions about where they need to put dollars.
We are trying to control things that we probably aren't going to be best at controlling in this committee, and we're creating levels of uncertainty that nobody has any ideas.
This bill essentially says the unions can go to the majority for something that they're not able to get through collective bargaining and legislate it. It's killing that process, and eventually I think that comes around and it ends up being bad for the majority at some point as well, if we're killing that collective bargaining process. The other thing that really bugs me too, I'm working closely with long-term care and some crisis that we have there. Is the state just going to start setting new minimum wage for different career fields?
In my district, many people are being paid $15 an hour. And to raise that to $25 an hour, a small school, and I'm talking a very, very small school, your bill would cost one school $700,000 in increased employment for their salary, $300,000 for their insurance. And if this was pushed through as a mandate, as you're proposing, we are in a year where we have a surplus, and this would be a very, very scary situation for schools to be able to fund this. I just heard 4 people testify against your bill. And I hope everyone on this committee is listening to the testifiers, because having that many people testify against a bill truly speaks volumes and should be giving us all at least enough hesitation to reevaluate this bill as it's written. This would be devastating to the rural districts, and correlation is not causation. So when I heard one of the testifiers say, that people are not all paid the same, or they're paid at part-time, well, there are schools that people actually prefer that. There are parents that prefer to work part-time while their children are at school. And so you are pushing a mandate on a school district that I don't think it would have a lot of unintended consequences. And if the governor proposed, you know, the 4% and the 2% general fund increases, when I am talking to people in my district who continually say, and I'm talking about teachers and principals and superintendents, and they say one of their biggest problems is us pushing mandates on our school districts, and then they're not funded. This would be a crisis to push a mandate on these school districts, and then in 2 years, we're going to hear these school districts are not able to fund these.
Obviously, couldn't disagree with you more.